War 124 would be labeled as one of the greatest Warden comebacks in Foxhole history. The Colonials came within inches of destroying key MPF towns of the Warden backlines, but their hubris caused them to launch a nuke at the bone half, which unified the Wardens and led to a total Colonial collapse and a Warden victory. But in all seriousness, was that really the reason for a Warden comeback? Did the nuke itself motivate the Wardens to re-enter the fight, or was there something else going on behind the scenes? Welcome to Foxhole Debrief, a new series on the channel where I dive into some of the most exciting and controversial wars in Foxhole, taking a look at the major and minor reasons for the final outcome of the war. We'll be looking at both decisive battles and bullshit drama and everything in between to give you the real reason why Wardens came back and won War 124. Before we can talk about the final moments that helped decide War 124's outcome, we need to start at the beginning. Like every other war in Foxhole, it had a relatively predictable start. The Colonial faction's early war advantage with ISGs and mobile artillery tore through the Warden lines, giving them a strong foothold in the west. While both factions have viable tools for AT and PvE, the Colonial Lunaire and Tremola spam was a strong method for collies to break through the T1 and T2 defenses. Until concrete with tech, Wardens would need to fight hard and repel any Lunaire spam if they wanted to save their bunker bases. But aside from the weapons at the Collies' disposal, there was a stronger Collie player base at the start of War 124. Something that the Colonial faction does very well is spreading their experienced regiments evenly across the map. This led to strong defenses being built in key hexes like Origin to prevent naval invasions, and Deadlands, which is a key central hex that could be used to launch attacks both in the west and the eastern part of the map. The Wardens, on the other hand, vet stacked the eastern front, which allowed Endless Shore to be held for 11 days and made taking a hex like Stilken Shelf difficult. Because Warden Navy is an important component to success in a war, hexes like Stilken Shelf and Farinac Coast would need to be secured by the Wardens if they plan to leverage their large ships against the Collies. In addition to vet stacking in the east, Wardens also experienced a great number of regiments taking a break for War 124. Let me just say this now before some of you start typing, break wars are absolute cope, I don't believe in them, and anyone that claims a break war is a shill. But anyway, I asked a number of Warden regiments if they'd like to be featured in a regiment review this war, and every one of them told me that they're taking a break from War 124. I'll be the first to say this is purely anecdotal, but some of these regiments were oftentimes spotted on the front lines in previous wars and can make a decisive difference in the battle. While we've mainly focused on Collie pushes and player population, there was also some general Warden tomfoolery experienced in the early to midpoint of the war. To start, there was the great nod photo op of Stone Cradle. The Gremlins and I were fighting hard in the hex, and we got a front row seat to the absolute collapse of Stone Cradle. While some of it was due to queues due to large regiments like Nod evacuating their stockpile in the seaport, or facility players making materials in their factories, deadass by the way, me and the boys went to cure off the bridge that connects Stone Cradle to Callum's Cape, since that was our main Logi road, and we ended up driving past several facility workers making shit while Collies were right outside of their base. And I mean, I know what it's like. I've been there personally several wars ago with the Gremlins where our facility ended up being on the front line. But personally, I would have been shitting my pants and picking up a rifle. But I tell you, man, these guys, these facility workers were like, fuck that. I'm making more ASMAT 4s. The other unfortunate situation in Stone Cradle was the destruction of key concrete bunker bases and overall poorly made defenses in towns like Ayers Knife and World's End. And I'm not kidding, I mean, these key towns like Buckler Sound and Ogmarin looked like Detroit after the Collies were done shelling them. The Wardens couldn't have cared less about rebuilding, and this eventually led to the fall of Buckler and Ogmarin, bringing the Collies into close proximity of the Warden MPF town and Callum's Cape. After the fall of Stone Cradle and the Moors, many Wardens threw in the towel and allowed the Collies to push into Callum's Cape. At the time, the Gremlins and I had an SHT printing in the hex, and we defended Callum's as best we could. But just like that, there was an inflection point. This inflection point in the war was caused by a few key moments, first being the nuking of Bonehaft in Farinac Coast. Now, some players have argued that the nuke was strategic and directly eliminated a strong concrete bunker base just across the bridge. Other players called it a meme. Regardless, when you look back at the state of the war, literally after the nuke falls on the Bonehaft and Farinac, Wardens make crazy gains in Endless Shore and start pushing the Collies back in the western hexes like the Moors and Stone Cradle. For whatever reason, the nuke unified Wardens and brought back players who were taking a break or hadn't played during War 124. With the Wardens now unified and working together, this would be the start for a Warden comeback. There were several reasons for the Warden's eventual victory in War 124, but much of it can be attributed to key battles that took place during the final weeks of the war. The Wardens would push through the western parts of the Clashra and eventually took out the treasury. The eastern front had pushed into Reavers after taking Endless, allowing for a more focused attack on Alod's Bite. With more attention and coordination in Alod's, the Wardens would successfully take Mercy's Whale, securing another victory point for the faction. This was a huge blow to Colonial morale, which followed up with more losses in Reaver's Pass, and Wardens having a presence in the Shackled Chasm and Terminus Hexes. This threat would cause the Colonials to pull away from the Western Front and redeploy to the east. With this shift in focus, Warden troops would now be able to recapture Stone Cradle, the Moors, and Faranac Coast. At this point, all the progress made by the Collies was undone in the west, further crippling their morale and growing the Wardens. This issue of morale also led to another minor reason for Warden supremacy in the final moments of War 124, the Colonial Civil War. So I'm going to start this section off by reading off a PR letter that my lawyer provided. Gremblo does not speak on behalf of any regiment, nor does he share the views of any regiment in the following segment. The actions of the individuals and regiments involved are their own and do not reflect the beliefs of Gremblo. Anyone claiming otherwise may be subjected to getting oiled up by the bros. Alright, so during the final moments of the war where participation and morale would be paramount, someone decided to go on the Foxhole subreddit and made the following spicy post. Gator and Millions lied to their members yet again to start a civil war. I'm not going to read all of this right now. You can pause the video and read it yourself, but the TLDR is allegedly Million Midgets was blocking Som's tank line and was reported due to griefing. 420th on the other hand claimed that Million was playing music that annoyed the Som players in that tank line, which made them mass report Million in the process. There's a lot more to the story, like video evidence of what went down during this interaction between the 420th and Som players before Million was reported. But the main focus for me of this is in terms of its effect on the outcome of War 124. And the fact is, the drama bullshit effectively turned Colonial attention away from the front line in favor of QRFing a Reddit post. Like it always does, baby. While collies took to arguing and throwing shit at each other on Reddit, the Wardens continued their inevitable push in hexes like Westgate, Umbral, Great March, and Kalokai, leading to the collapse of the collie backline and the conclusion of the war. And that's the Foxhole debrief for War 124. I hope you guys liked it. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future. This isn't going to be for every war, just the ones where exciting or juicy moments took place. Again, this is not me giving an opinion, mainly just me trying to condense as many pivotal and key moments during the war. I'm sure there are moments that I forgot to mention, so if there's anything I missed that you think made a difference in the war, make sure to mention those down in the comment section below. So with War 125 underway, I also wanted to mention that my regiment, the Gremlins, is once again recruiting. Right now, we're on the Able Shard fighting for the Colonials, so if you're interested in joining us for some tank gaming, partisaning, and copious amounts of rockets being launched, then make sure you join us by clicking on the Discord link down in the description below. Once you're in the Discord, make sure you take a screenshot of your F1 screen the next time you log into Foxhole and post it in the Foxhole chat channel. In terms of what you can expect, we don't take the game seriously and are open to both new players and veterans. That's it for the video, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more Foxhole related content. Take care, and I'll see you all in the next one.
Ambidextrous because I beat his dick with both hands. I am versatile. Suck him long, it hurts to smile. Said he's scared to fuck me, but I told him that it's worth a while. He a businessman, he fucked me with his suit on. Booty was already wet, we ain't even have to put no lube on. He fucked me like a dog, so we turned Blue's Clues on. 4 rounds per hour, what it says.